This deck list is by far the most fun you can have in Rush Duel at the moment. I knew the second I saw the gameplay reveal trailer for this deck list that it was going to be exceptionally fun, and I wasn't wrong when playing it in Rush Duel. This felt really fun, and also really strong. It's kind of weird that you're playing a deck list that is majority a bunch of level 2 monsters, and just slamming your opponent with a billion attack anyway. This deck takes the idea of a once per turn skill to the absolute extreme, and really shows just how strong this format can be. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get into the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future, especially more Rush Duel content, as I have a whole bunch of deck lists still planned coming out over the upcoming days, including your dragons, your warriors, and maybe even trying out Pyro. I haven't really decided on that one yet, but still, a whole bunch of Rush Duel content coming. So if you want to see any of that content or any more deck lists from me in the future, remember to leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's jump into this deck list. So today's deck list is obviously going to be Psychic, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this deck list completely slaps. It is really competitively viable, and it's also incredibly fun. It makes use of all the sort of mechanics that come with Rush, whether that be drawing a shit ton of cards, the massive amount of summoning you can do, and of course the ridiculous skills we've got, where you can actually just use it more than once per duel. So we'll talk about the skill first, because it is incredibly impactful. It is one of the best skills they've added, if not the best skill they've added, as it turns this deck list from being something that would be mediocre to actually an insane deck list. Alright, so the skill is called Climax Beat. The skill can be used if the only monsters in your deck are Psychic type monsters with 2400 or less attack. So keep in mind this is a very hefty requirement compared to some of the other decks. It actually forces you to be playing only Psychics. Alright, requirements. Can be activated during the turn you have summoned a level 2 or lower monster. Keep in mind this is only on normal summon, so if you activate a revive effect to bring back a level 2 from the graveyard, it won't trigger the skill. Alright, set one Climax Finale or one Lullabind from your deck or graveyard in your spell and trap card zone. If your life points are 1000 or lower, you gain 1000 life points. And these two cards are both really good. One of which is just a flat out Book of Moon effect if you have two face up psychic monsters, which you generally will. This card just takes one of your opponent's monsters, places it in defense position so you can clear over just about anything. This card, it's going to be better early on in the duel where you don't have so many cards in the graveyard, but once you have a bunch of cards in the graveyard, you're never going to search for this thing, you're going to search for this one instead. Because this thing basically pays life points equal to the number of psychic monsters in your graveyard times 100, then take one of your face-up psychic type monsters, it gains attack equal to the amount of psychic monsters in your graveyard times 100. So this card on average towards the end of the game will get anywhere from like 800 to 1000 extra attack to one of your monsters, and because of how this skill works, you can activate a Climax Finale, it goes to the graveyard, activate the skill, grab it back from the graveyard, and boost again. And you can do this multiple times a duel, so this is it's an insane skill. The fact that it's not once per duel just means you can search for these cards just as much as you like, and yeah, it really carries the deck quite a way. So the deck's main boss monster is going to be your Prima Guitarna, the Shining Superstar, and this card is sick. Pay 1000 life points, all face-up monsters on your field gain attack equal to the number of monsters on your opponent's field times 300 until the end of the turn. So it's like Beatdown, like the skill from Speed Duel, but an insane variation. It just gains 300 attack times every single monster no matter what that monster is, boosting the shit out of your field by up to like 900 extra attack, which is pretty goddamn insane. Then we have your Romanpick. This card is probably the best level up reward they've added to the game yet. It is an insane card, and will probably see play in this deck list no matter what variation you're playing until the end of time. This card, if your life points are lower than your opponent's, pay 500 life points. Send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. If a Psychic type monster is among them, add one Psychic type monster from your graveyard to your hand. So keep in mind, this thing is looking at the top 3 cards and adding ones to your hand, but it's also able to choose just from the graveyard itself. You're just sending 3 cards to the graveyard, then you can look in the graveyard and add one back. So later on in the game, if you're using this card when your graveyard's already giga stacked, you can just choose basically any card in your deck and add it to your hand. This card is crazy strong. And another good thing about this card is, even though we only have one copy of it, we actually have a card in the deck that can recycle it, which we'll talk about in just a second. Alright, then we have your folder Blitz, the Infinite Dream. I'm only playing one of this card because I find this deck list really wants to flat out the board as quickly as possible, so playing monsters that require 2 tributes doesn't feel that great personally, especially considering the other one actually just revives its tribute anyway, so I found this card didn't feel as great in practice, or just in testing it out. And also, I don't want to have too many high-level monsters in this deck list anyway, because obviously you want to spam out the field. So this thing, basically when your opponent has at least 2,000 life points higher than yours, inflict 1,500 damage to your opponent. So this card is really good at just dealing the final blow to lethal your opponent, and that's the main reason we're playing it, but I'm still only going to play it at 1. Then we have Bury Bassist. This card requirements, if you have a face-up Psychic-type monster on the field, pay 500 life points. Spell or summon level 2 Psychic-type normal monster from your graveyard face up on your field. So this thing, you summon a monster, summon this thing over the top of it, bring back the monster you just used as tribute fodder. Feels pretty goddamn good, but keep in mind, you do actually have to have another Psychic monster on the field to use this card's effect. Alright, then we have your Telepathic Agent. Requirements, if your opponent's life points are at least 1,000 higher than yours, shuffle one Psychic-type monster from your graveyard into your deck. This card can attack directly this turn. So this card can recycle your Psychic monsters, like I said earlier. You can grab your one over this card, put it back in the deck for use later on. It can get your boss monsters and put them back in the deck list. It can even just grab some level 2s if you feel like you're running low in your deck list and want to guarantee you're going to draw one. You can use this card's effect to shuffle them back in, and then this thing can attack directly. And you might think, 1,000 attack directly doesn't sound all that much, but keep in mind, 900 attack boost, 900 attack boost. This thing can be used multiple times a turn. This card gets gigantic. I know I had at least one of the replays which was going way over 3,000, just smacking my opponent in the face, so yeah, pretty good. Then we have your Silent Assassin. This card's just a level 4 monster. It's just in here for the stat line, 1500 attack, just a decent normal summon, and it's a Psychic type monster. Then we have your level 2s. Now, there's not much to say about the level 2s, we just have a whole bunch of them. All their stat lines are very, very low. But you need to run a whole bunch of them, because otherwise you won't be able to proc the skill, and all these cards are just used for tribute fodder anyway, and the more tribute fodder you have, and the more cards you can get in the graveyard, the more chance that this thing's going to do a billion extra damage. Alright, so we've gone through these 2 cards already, and the final card in the deck list is your Psychic Introduction. Now, you might be wondering why the hell I'm not playing the other Psychic Trap card. I tried this out, and in testing, I found I didn't find this card very useful at all. Purely because, unlike with the other deck list where I was using the other trap card, this card over here, this one, your monsters are just innately very low stat lines. Other than this card, and this card, all your other monsters are just super low stat line. So a lot of the time, your end field will just have like one of these face up or one of these face up, and your opponent will just be like, oh, 3 damage, and they just slam you with it. Because this card isn't going to prevent your monster from dying, it's only giving you 500 more attack, and 500 more attack on a 1000 attack monster doesn't really do a whole lot. And even 500 more attack on one of your boss monsters isn't really going to do a whole lot when your opponent's summoning out like a 7's Rogue Magician or something, just slamming you in the face. So I found these cards just weren't all that useful in combination with this Psychic Wall. So I tried out the other card instead, and this felt really good. Because the main issue with this deck list that I was sort of talking about before the deck was releasing and what I thought might be bad about it is you're paying so much life points that a lot of the time if your opponent just summons something like a 7's Rogue Magician, you just die. They just smack you and you die, which feels awful. This deck list doesn't have a problem reducing its own life points to the requirements for the attacking directly card, or just in general just putting your life points low so you can use things like this, or use things like your, yeah, those are the main ones. This thing I think actually has to have lower life points as well. No, it doesn't. Basically, this deck list doesn't struggle to make its own life points low to use the skills such as this guy, and this guy's effect. So, being able to have a Psychic Introduction to gain an extra 1500 life points during your opponent's turn as soon as they summon a monster just stops you dying and lets you use your paying life points effects as much as you like. So, I wouldn't cut this card. It felt really goddamn good in testing, and you'll see during the replays. Gaining an extra like 3,000 life points after using 2 of these trap cards is absolutely game changing and just keeps you in the game. And yeah, I wouldn't cut them. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the deck list portion of the video. The rest of the video will be gameplay showcasing the deck list in action. And without further ado, let's jump into some replays. Alright, so today I've got 5 replays to share with you guys, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy these replays, especially considering they're a lot better than yesterday's, a lot more sort of competitive-ish deck lists. There's still a lot of jank going around because we are still low rank, because obviously the game just came out and everyone is low rank, so Hopefully you'll enjoy these a little bit better though, because there's a little bit better deck building going on, the matchup's a little bit better, and obviously, this deck list, I find it the most fun that you can probably have in Rush Duel right now, meaning the actual gameplay, you should enjoy it, because it's very combo-ish. There's sort of just a lot of spamming going on, and just big beaters just slamming your opponent. At one point, I think in this first gameplay, I give a 3200 attack, direct attack beater to lethal my opponent exactly. Yeah, you're going to really enjoy these gameplays, they're actually sick. It definitely shows off how disgusting it is having skills that are not once per duel, because this skill is filthy. Alright, let's get into it.
Here we go.
Alright, so first thing I want to mention is this deck list, it feels a lot better if you go second than going first. It's not that big of an issue if you go first, it just doesn't feel like you can really set up a board. There's no like high attack monsters you can set up to just force out your opponent's removal and stuff. There's just not really a whole lot you can do, so... And a lot of the time, because you've got cards like this that require you to have a face-up fairy on the field for its effect, you have to normal summon out fairies like this dude who's just got 1000 attack, so you're just asking you to take 1 billion damage in return. So it doesn't feel that great. I could just set a whole bunch of cards here, but that would have been... I would have had less cards in hand than for... I would have had more cards in hand then, so I wouldn't have been able to, yeah, draw as much. So I'm just gonna slam everything on the field and pass. I could have normal summoned this card here instead of using this thing's effect, so I could have drawn more cards, but I thought it'd be nice to at least keep one level 2 in hand, so I guaranteed can proc the skill on the following turn. Because you need a level 2 to proc the skill. Alright, enough pausing. Alright, so my opponent's gonna summon out some stuff. Not the greatest field, and for some reason, swung in the dragon into my monster. I think he just didn't realize it had 1600 attack. Alright. Summoning out the best animation in the game. I've already activated the skill because I summoned a level 2, searching for the Climate Beat for my deck. That animation is fucking sick. Alright, normal summoning, boosting the shit out of my field, beating over his monster, and passing the turn. Yes, you'll notice I've got a 500 attack monster on the field and a 1000 attack monster on the field. So if I wasn't running trap cards like this that just boost the shit out of my life points, I would actually be in like dangerously low range of my opponent summoning like a Dragius or whatever it is and just double attacking me and killing me, or summoning like the 3 effects, or the, what am I saying? The 7's Rogue Magician just absolutely slamming me. I thought I said 3 effects, that's the skill from Speed Duel. Alright, summons out a Dark Magician, beats over my cards. And you see I'm still fairly healthy thanks to the skill, so... Alright, Climax Beat once again, grabbing my other Finale. Tribute summoning once again, summoning another monster. Tribute summoning again. Now I have the absolute max amount of these psychic monsters in the graveyard possible, so I can activate my first Climax Finale, which I saved from the previous turn. Activate a second one, because the skill is not once per turn. Now that I've got way below life points of my opponent, this thing's the effect can trigger, so I can attack directly by shuffling a card from graveyard back into the deck. 3200 attack directly, 3200 life points, and he's gone. Alright, that guy got absolutely shit on. Alright, on to our second gameplay. Yeah, this deck list, it's... I don't think you'll have much more fun in Rush Duel than this deck. I think it is the most fun you can have currently. Alright. Alright, pretty good hand. You really want to open this card because it's a sick card. Alright, normal summoning, tribute summoning, reviving back from the graveyard, tribute summoning once again to go into our boss monster. I love how I can hear the life point going down sound in the background. This is broken. Nice. Alright, there we go. Alright, normal summoning, paying some life points. This gets to add a card to my hand, so I can tribute summon once again. And passing the turn. So we've got some fairly decent beaters this time. I'm going to draw a bunch of cards, so this does at least force out my opponent to summon some big stuff to remove my boys, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Alright, go for a tribute summon, bring back the level 2, go for another summon, summon again. Unfortunately, didn't actually draw a level 2. This is the reason, by the way, we're playing so many level 2s in the deck, because if you don't draw one, it does feel pretty shit, because here I could have normal summon one and search for a second copy of this Climax Finale, but unfortunately, didn't draw it, so I have to just go with the one. Alright, boosting the shit out of my dude, who's already done a shit ton of damage. I think I already did the 1500 burn. Yeah, Summon this guy, did 1500 burn damage. Keep in mind this card's effect does require your opponent to be, or you to be 2000 life points less than your opponent. So if you can activate skills like this thing to pay your life points beforehand, or activate your Climax Finale to pay life points beforehand, it can help you reach the threshold for this card. So burned him for a shit ton, and then just smacked him in the face for an absolute shit ton as well. Already on 600 life points, and he's just out of there. Alright. On to replay in number 3. I was very surprised that this trap card performed as well as it did. Apparently just gaining 1500 life points is just a saving grace for this deck. It means you can just spend as much as you like and not actually have to be worried about your opponent just slamming you on the return. Feels weird playing a life point gaining card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Considering if you play that in Speed Duel or Master Duel, you're just trolling. Alright, so finally they're going second replay, which feels a lot better because you actually use the skill on turn 1. I don't know why they didn't let you use the skill on turn 1 for, just turn 1 in general for this deck. As they didn't want you searching it out multiple times or like so quickly before your second turn. Alright, normal summoning the Climax Beat, activating, grabbing the spell card of course. It's very rare you actually grab the Book of Moon. I find just grabbing the boosting one is just way better. I still run one copy of the Book of Moon just in case I do need it for something big, but generally the spell card's better. Alright. Boosting and boosting again, slaying my opponent, and passing the turn. My opponent's normal summon, gaining another 1000 life points. Using darkness approaches. I've seen a lot of comments in my comment section about this card saying it's a pretty good card to run. I really don't like this card at all. It's just minusing value for no reason. This guy could have done so much more normal summoning and tribute summoning if he just didn't use this thing. I guess he didn't draw anything this time around, but to discard the trap card? I don't know, this feels awful. I don't know. Not a fan, not a fan. He did manage to clear my field though. It's just he hasn't really got a whole lot left, so... Climax Beat, once again, grabbing my spell card. Tribute summoning, reviving back. Activating Beat. Activating my second copy of Beat. Hit him in the face for 1 billion. Well, not 1 billion, because I've got 2 little low attack monsters on the left and the right. But 3 face-up monsters means I can gain 1500 life points, so we're not exactly scared. Yes, my opponent could just activate a Sparks. And he's gone. Actually, sorry, he actually lived this turn, because for some reason he didn't clear my field, so I didn't get to draw that many cards. I wasn't able to slam out my hand on him. Alright, now he's gone. I saved this replay because I think this is one of the very few replays I actually use the Book of Moon effect, so there it is. Book of Moon is monsters, so I can hit him in the face. I think that's the only reason I actually saved this replay, despite it being a Sparks replay. Not the greatest of actual gameplays, but... I just wanted to show the Book of Moon effect going off. Because it is like, that guy using that card, the discarded 2, to send one of my monsters face down. Oh, sorry, was it face down? I don't remember if it just changes battle position, whatever it did to it. I've got that exact same effect, and I don't have a cost for it. I just have to have 2 psychic monsters face up, so... Pretty insane card.
Get ready for the rush.
Alright, Mellow. Just flat out just summoning 3 monsters here. Didn't have any tributes, so I couldn't really empty my hand any other way. Making sure to at least keep a level 2 in hand though. Also, I could have kept this card in hand, but I decided I wanted to just... I thought the 1500 beat is more better early on, because it's not likely to be direct attacking so soon. Although I think I end up just direct attacking this turn anyway. Alright, Climax Beat, grabbing my spell card of course. Summoning a monster, tribute summoning straight out for my superstar. By the way, I do recommend having the voice lines on for this character, it's pretty sick. I haven't got them on for YouTube replay purposes, but it's generally pretty sick. Alright, boosting the shit out of everyone, and by the way, this is like my second turn? It's 3600 attack, 2400 attack, and a 1900 attack beater. So I slam him, and I hit him in the face for 1 billion. So he's already down to 1000 life points. Alright, summons out a Dragius, summons out another monster. Does actually get me dangerously low here. So maybe I should have traded with this monster. I just thought putting him down to 1,000 would mean I've got guaranteed lethal on the next turn, but I probably should have traded with this. Alright. I misplayed here, by the way. I activated my Climax Beat before activating my burn effect from this card, the pay 500 to revive something. This meant that I couldn't get the extra 1,000 life points from the Climax Beat skill, because this skill, if you got below 1,000 life points, you gain a bunch of life points. You gain 1,000 life points when you activate it, so I should have used this thing first before activating the skill. Because it did mean I get one less monster on the field in this situation. It didn't really matter because I have lethal on field, but... yeah, Climax Speed, 900 extra attack, and he's literally just dead already. Alright, and was that the final replay? Nope, we got another one. And I think for this last one, we'll turn on voice lines, because why not? So I think of all the voice acting in this game, this character's definitely got the best. We're gonna miss out on the intro voice lines, but that's alright. We'll turn it on for the rest of the duel though.
Here we go. Get ready for the rush.
Alright, maybe we won't miss out on the voice lines. Alright, let's turn on the character lines. Alright.
I'll knock you out with the
Alright.
very first tune. My turn. I draw. Wattkiss.
Alright, I'm gonna have to do a whole lot of setting here. I do still want to empty out my hand as much as possible, so I am going to tribute this beat. I'm not going to do a revive effect to bring something back, because I don't want one of these 500 attack monsters being face up. I do like, I think generally, if you've got a monster with over 1500 attack, like a 1600 attack or higher monster, you should probably put it face up on first turn to at least force your opponent to try to remove it with things. Such as, for example, right now, activating Darkness Approaches to turn it face down. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but that feels correct so far. Alright, this guy's opening hand was probably fine, it's just he's running Darkness Approaches, which I think is a pretty garbage card. At least I haven't seen much success with it, but anyway.
It's my turn. I draw. Keytar Kid. Wattkiss. Keytar Kid.
Alright, making sure to summon a level 2 so I can activate the skill. Getting a sick riff off.
I'm setting a card.
I wish you would play the riff sound even when you don't have the voice lines on.
Ready to get
Anyway.
pumped up? Prima Guitarna, the shining superstar, is here in Duel Links.
Yeah, this animation's still by far the best one in Duel Links. It is so sick. Or maybe I just like the music, so maybe I'm just biased.
I'll play this.
Alright, summoning out my 2 monsters and setting my trap card, giving a huge boost to my field.
Prima Guitarna activates her effect. Let 'em hear your riff. Rock and refrain. Let's give this crowd a send-off they'll never forget.
Granting a second boost with the Climax Finale.
Finale. Battle.
Smacking my opponent in the face.
Attack. Keep this rock rolling.
I hope I show it this duel, because I don't know if I've shown it yet, but if you've actually just got, if you draw one of these, and you haven't used your skill yet, you could activate this thing, then use your skill to bring it back from the graveyard and activate it again. So there's a reason I'm playing multiple of them, is because it feels like if you draw multiple of them, you're not like hurting yourself, it just feels better.
I can't handle. Keytar Kid attack.
And putting this guy dangerously low.
I'm all tuned up for whatever comes next. I end my turn.
In a rush duel, there's always a chance to make a comeback. It's my
Alright.
turn. There's always a chance
Legend
to
Draw
comeback
being
in a rush
used.
duel.
I'm not sure about Legend Draw as a skill, because the only really good like Legend card is Summon Skull right now, and he's not that great, he's just sort of a big beater.
Activate my spell card.
He is going to remove my trap card, which feels pretty bad, because I'd like to gain that life points, but it's fine. I'm not particularly scared of dying here, I had to take a pretty insane hand to kill me here. I don't even know if it's even possible in Rush Duel with this many life points.
Guitarna the Windweaver.
Time to Torn the Windweaver, got his Summon Skull out.
Okay, let's battle. Go.
Gets to clear most of my field, still gonna keep at least one monster though.
You gotta be louder than that.
You've gotta be
The
louder than
Windweaver
that.
attacks.
Not bad.
I'm not going down that easily. I end my turn.
Alright.
I'm only getting started.
How did you guys notice some of the taunts, by the way? I'm not sure if this character's got any good taunts, but I know, one of the characters says, I know this is a complete tangent, but one of the characters, like, flames your opponent for playing solitaire. The funniest shit, it's like, so often in Yu-Gi-Oh! We all, like, go off about, your opponent's playing solitaire, and there's one of the characters literally has a voice line for flaming your opponent for doing it now.
Wattangel.
I think it's the warrior character that has that. One of them does. Anyway, Climax beat being used. Being the sick riff off.
I'm setting a card.
Alright.
Bassist.
Summoning out the Bassist, which gets to revive back from the graveyard, paying a 500 life points.
Wattkiss. Are you
Tribute summoning once again for my big dude.
rock the stage? Prima Guitarna, the shining superstar. You should never underestimate me.
Alright. I think I summoned the, I don't summon the,
Guitarna activates her
the shuffler yet.
Let 'em hear your riff. Rock and refrain.
And I think he's just actually dead on field.
Crowd a send-off they'll never forget. I activate Climax Finale.
And he just concedes before it even goes off. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed these replays today. I certainly enjoyed playing this deck, so if you're looking for a very fun deck to play in Rush Duel, I highly encourage you to choose this one. I personally find it has a lot of decision making in it as well, because you'll find a lot of the time you're just trying to make sure to manage your life points perfectly to be able to activate certain skills or activate your card requirements. I know it didn't really show too much in these replays, purely because, well, I'm just sort of showing a replay. If I was playing this live, you would have seen a lot more decision making, making sure to get exact life points, rather than it going as smoothly as it did in this, once you watch just the replays aftermath. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. I still got a whole bunch of Rush Duel decks coming out, so if you want to see those, remember to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.